Why data formats matter is that affects ease of loading and cleaning as well. Normally, we can determine the structure. There are quite a number of commands that we use here, textual kind of commands, particularly in Python, which we can use to define the structure of the file. Sometimes you can call it the shape. We'll see that, I guess. We can check the shape of a particular file. I'll show you that when we go to inspecting the structure of a given, let's say, data set. Impact analysis and storage efficiency. Definitely, if you look at the different data files or formats, you are going to find that if you are saving, let's say, assume that you have a big kind of data set, you'd find that the CSV files are more accommodative because they have that compression mechanism, which makes them a bit smaller compared to XLS files, or what we call the Excel files. So if you have, let's say, a 50 KB file of CSV, that could be equivalent, let's say, to 2 times of, let's say, an Excel file. So an Excel file could actually be of a size up to 100 KB compared to the 50 KB, which is a CSV file, I guess, would have. So those are some of the differences in terms of storage and efficiency. So you would say that a CSV is more suitable for bigger data sets compared, let's say, to what you are calling the Excel file or the XLS X files, which is always the file extension for Excel file formats. An overview of data formats, CSV being comma separated, separated with some of these values, we will see that. Then an Excel, of course, can be a spreadsheet, which would have, let's say, as many sheets as possible. Again, in Python, you can either load one sheet, or you can actually load as many sheets, I guess, as you want. Again, we'll look at the JSON file again using the, I wrote this in Python. I think the package normally is it JSON? You import JSON or something. We'll see that. But normally this is the same structured kind of data. You will see how the JSON file also looks like. Our APIs could be live data sources, where we mentioned that some of these you can get them on these available web sources. A CSV file format, plain text file format again. Rows represent the records, while the columns are separated, I guess, by those commas. Again, we'll see that. An example of a CSV file would be, let's say, for example, a student ID, name, age. Now, if this was a table, again, of course, you could create a table with those four columns, where, of course, each of those would be a variable that records each of those identifiers mentioned above, e.g. student ID 101, name being John, age 21, and age and score being about 78. So we'll see how that CSV again, of course, is as well. Advantage of CSV files, normally, and limitations. Simple, is lightweight, like I mentioned. Normally the XLS files could be twice the size of a CSV file. Therefore, we say the CSV file is always more accommodative compared, let's say, to the other Excel files. Widely supported. Then the limitation, of course, we will look at the data types, but for this one here, no data types and no hierarchy. Data types, we'll see how we define those in Python using the D type, let's say, command there. So we print the D type there, and of course, define the data frame, and that will show us the different data types for those files. Again, we are going to see that in the practical area or session that you are going to go to. And the Excel format, always an overview of this. Normally, the spreadsheet is based on the data, supports multiple kind of sheets, again, common in business environments. Guys in the business area always find it appropriate to use Excel file formats. An Excel example again would be, let's say, sheet 1 with student records, I guess, and so forth. So before I go on, I guess maybe it is a point here. Let's try to load a CSV file such that you see how this looks like. Members, I expect that all of you guys, I told you last time that you should be able to install Python. Have all of us installed Python or what we call the Jupyter notebook? Have all of us installed the Jupyter notebook?
Yes, sir.
So if we have done so, you can now go to normally is that we go to the start menu, then click on Jupyter. Jupyter, if you click on it, it's going to open that window there, that command like window. Then of course this window will open on this side. Now you can define the browser to which you want your program to open in. For me, I set Google Chrome as my default browser. So by default, all my programs actually open from there. But you can put in whichever browser that you want, or the preference that you have, I guess, on your machine. But before we go on, members, I want you to go to kego.com. First of all, I want you to go to kego.com. Go to kego.com, and you are going to download. Or maybe let me send you this. I think you may not have. Okay, you do this. Let me send you this file. I want to put it on your WhatsApp, I guess. The student data here. Let me see what this contains. Oh, okay. This looks good. So let me put this student data on your WhatsApp platform. Where is this thing of yours here? Under data wrangling. Okay. So I'll put a file for you. This is a CSV file. Please download it to your machine there. I hope you have been able to see this. Have you been able to see what I put there? Check your WhatsApp and make sure that you download this file. It is a CSV file. It is a CSV file. Okay. Have you seen the file, members? That's a CSV file that I've loaded onto your WhatsApp platform. But ideally, you should also be able to go to kego.com and be able to get your data sets or data sets of your choices. Hello. Hello,
yes,
members.
Yes, we have.
Yeah, have you downloaded?
Yes, please.
If you have downloaded, then now we can go to. I want you to see what I'm doing. Please save that file somewhere on your machine. You can decide to create a folder on the desktop and maybe call it data wrangling. Then, of course, you'll be getting that from there. So I've been able to open my Jupyter notebook. Remember, this is what I told you here. So I'm right here. So if you have opened your Jupyter notebook and has opened in the window, you can go ahead and click on the new icon. Somewhere there you'll see at the extreme right where you have that option of new. Now, if you are using a different Jupyter notebook, of course, I know there are quite a number of versions. If you are using a different format, again, know how to access this interface that we use for loading the data. Please, if you are at this stage, because what I want us to do is that we are talking about CSV file formats, plain text, rows represent records, columns are separated by commas. Okay, so what I sent you is a CSV file which you should have opened. But an CSV file can also be converted to XLS and vice versa. So I've sent you one version there that you can use. So what you do is that check the source of that file, then we can proceed. I want to see this information. Sometimes it's good to always show you what we are doing here. Okay, so now that you have opened that program, here sometimes, of course, we need to understand that at this stage is that now here we call, in most cases, we call the packages. We call the packages that we are going to use. Later on in this course, of course, I'm going to explain what some of these packages do. But particularly here, we are concerned with importing pandas as PD. Normally, pandas is one of the packages that we use for numerical kind of analysis. We can also import another package that we call NumPy as NP there. Okay. For today, we are only going to use these two. For today, we are only going to use, I guess, these two here. We are going to use these two. One is pandas, then the other is NumPy. I want to believe that all of you at this stage.
Yes.
At this stage, you can tell us if you are not there yet.
We are there.
Okay, so pandas in Python. Maybe you may want to know what pandas does. It's an essential open source library for data analysis and manipulation. And that's why we call it first. Let me admit some guys here. I think people are coming late always. Okay, so that's what NumPy is actually used for. Okay, then of course the other pandas. Then the NumPy, of course, normally looks at the array data normally defined as an array as an array, of course. In those pairs, there we can say that. So if you are there, you can run that. There's that icon or above there on the menus, more like a pointer to the right, which you can click on and is able to do that. But you can also use those different keyboard shortcuts. Now, for some reason, because I don't know the kind of machines that you have, but they are also keyboard shortcuts, so you can always find out which shortcut you can use, let's say for your on your machine rather. Now, the next thing is that once you have loaded your packages, you want to know where load the other file, because we want to see how a CSV file looks like. So members, what we do here is that we need to know the source of that file. Okay, so sometimes, of course, you can define file path. I've seen people using, let's say, file path is equal to something like that. Then you put the name of the file. I've also seen others do this CSV path. If that was a CSV file, path is equal to this. Remember, I told you that save this file somewhere, where of course you are sure of. At this stage, I want to say that we are loading not loading actually, pointing, let's say, pointing to the file path, the file path. You can call this file path. Okay, pointing to the file path, and I'm saying that if that was a CSV file, now I want to believe that what I gave is a CSV file. So you call the location of that file. So what I will do is that I go where that file is and right click and copy this as a path. So I come here and just put this here. Okay, and please be mindful of the forward slashes and the back slashes. If these are back slashes, you may need to introduce the arrow at the beginning such that you don't get errors, because the backslashes are interpreted characters in Python, or it's a character interpreted in Python to mean something different. So you may want to add this arrow here at the beginning. If you don't want to add the R, again, you can decide to use the forward slashes. So you can change this to forward slashes here, like this. I change this to a forward slash like that. I hope you have been able to do that there. But if you never wanted, if you don't want to remove the back slashes, then you can put the recursive there. Okay, R. Just simply put R, I guess, at the beginning there. Okay, so if you execute, if there was a problem here, I would think that it would have given you an error. Okay, if there was a problem there, I guess it would have given you an error there. Okay, since we say that pandas is the one that does data manipulation based on the data frame, so you define the data frame here. So df here is equal to pandas now, which in Python we define as pd dot read. Then now we read that CSV file. Okay, the CSV file. Make use of the underscore here, then you can open the parentheses and put the file path. Okay, remember that you call this a CSV path, so I expect you to copy this if you wanted. But if you have used the file path, it is also okay. So you can also do that. Okay, you can also do that as well, I guess. So you can do this and see. So I would think that there is no problem there. Now, if you wanted now, what we can do now, we can inspect the file structure, its file structure. So you can print the head, you can print the shape, you can print the columns, you can check the data types and so forth. Okay. So at this point, we can inspect the file structure where the first thing that we can do is that we can print the shape. Print the shape. So to print, you write that, open the parentheses again there, then you put the shape. Of course, use this those double quotations, shape, full columns here, then of course you can put a comma, then df dot shape here. That should actually give us the shape of this file. I want to believe you can always check always. Check always where there is a problem. You can always check. So the shape is that. So this thing is giving us 395 records. So now those are the rows. So if you open that file here, this file here, this I think we opened it here. This file, if you open this file, it has over 395, I guess, of those records. And this, so if you go down all the way down, 395. Of course, where there's a record here, this one is not counted. This one for your what? For the variables here. And the variables, I think, is giving us a total of about 33. You guys, do you have the same there? Have you got the same? If you are running this, you should have also got the same there. The shape is about 395, then the columns are about that number. I can only hear one person. I don't think there's only one person here. I want to hear from the rest.
Yes, sir.
Got it, sir.
I have the same shape.
Jalia, Nakano Ajia, are you there?
Yes. Yes.
What have you got? Huh?
Yes, please.
What have you got? What are your results?
I have 36 and
You have 36 and
32.
then you are not doing what you are doing. Nakano Ajia, you are not you know, I always get you from here. So Nakano, do you have a laptop? Don't be ashamed, of course. Do you have a laptop or you should have
Yes,
not
I'm
got
on
yet?
my PC. Yes, I'm on my
But the results you have given are wrong. So I don't know that you are doing what you're doing. Please, if you are not there, you can tell me. But this is what we did. First of all, we loaded that file. I sent it to your WhatsApp, so you should have saved it somewhere.
Yes, I saved it.
So then you can now load it the way that you have loaded this file. So ideally, we are saying that you have 395 records, Jaria, not the 36 that you are telling me. Then the columns that form your variables are about 33. Please mute. Please mute. Please mute somebody that is okay. Okay, that's okay. So that's what that file has. And what I was trying to show you here manually, the columns are these ones here. So if you count these columns, they'll give you 36. If you count these records, they are going to give you about the 300 and I think 95, of course, minus this one here. And when we scored down, I think we went up 396. Of course, minus that, you would get that there. Okay, so that's how we are able to read. Let's say we inspect the shape. We can also look at the columns if you wanted, because you are not if you are not so sure that maybe this program has given you the right kind of you can also do this. But the other thing that we could have done first is that we could have printed the head. If you wanted, we could have done this. We could have printed, open the data from df dot head, then open the parentheses, and now you can specify how many of the first rows you want. You can state them here if you wanted. So you can put, let's say, 5 in the head or 10 or whatsoever. But by default, I think it always gives us the first 5. I think that's what happens. It always gives us the first 5 here. We are now looking at the structure of our data set. And this is, I guess, what we have. You could see that the head gives you the first 5 records of that data set right there. We can see that this data set very rich, of course. With if you look at it again there, you are going to find that it has very good, interesting categorical kind of features. I think last time I was able to show you that in SPSS. We create those as well. But this is the head for this file here. If you wanted also, you could inspect the last, let's say, or print the last 5 lines, or instead of the head here, you could make use of the tail. And here I want to put about, let's say, 10 records. The last 10 records, of course, of 395. I could state this like that, and you could see that These are now the last ones here. Okay, the last 5 of these records, of course, are the ones that are given. So you could see that your data set is complete when you make use of the tail or the head. The head is always going to give you the first 10 lines, while of course, if you define, let's say 10 here, to give you that. But if you don't define that in the parentheses, it gives you the first 5, I guess, by default. The same, of course, if we had not specified, let's say 10 here. If we maintained, let's say by not putting the number there, again, it could have given us the last 5 there. That's what I guess that means. So by doing so, we have now inspected. Maybe this CSV. But the other commands that we could use, for example, you could make use of, let's say, if you don't want to, or if you wanted columns, for example, you can also print the columns. We just saw the number, but we are not sure of what columns those are. So we can print, so you can also type the print there, then open the parentheses. You can open and close, then of course make use of these double quotations, then indicate the columns. Columns there. The columns are now the variables that you are going to use, or rather the variables of that data set. Okay, so then there you can put a comma, then put the column list down. So df dot column columns or columns dot to list. Of course, you want to list. You can see that Python is basically some kind of textual based kind of a language. So maybe you want to do this, then open, then close the other bracket which you had opened, I guess, at the beginning. So you are closing this, then the two, of course, are for this here. Okay, so I know it is not easy, of course, for some of these syntaxes to be able to know where the bracket is, all this and that. You can always patch them in various platforms where, of course, the code can also be corrected, etc. So if you look at this again, you'll see that we have quite a number of columns members here. This originally, I think they said these were 33 columns. If you count again, I think you should be able to find this number right here. Okay. So what you have done is that you have printed the columns. All this that you are doing, of course, at the beginning is that we are studying the structure of the data set, particularly, let's say if you are going to use the CSV. I always use the CSV, of course. CSV is much more friendly, like we have noted. This is lightweight, therefore you don't want to have a hassle with Excel or maybe the other. JSON, of course, they have a different kind of file structure. If you wanted again to, so columns, now we know how to list the columns. If I'm to refresh you again, we started with loading the file. This is what we did, or pointing the file path. We're able to read the CSV. Then, of course, we printed the shape. The shape gave us this number of records. And then, of course, the columns, what we call the variables, were this number. Then, of course, the head was able to give us the first 5 lines by default. The tail was able to give us the last 5 lines, again by default. So where we are now, we are trying to show you the number of those columns, of course, which are numerically computed, but we are not sure of the name or their naming convention. So here, the columns, at least we know that we have column this, school, this, that, and that. Of course, this is a student kind of, let's say, database here. Now, there sometimes, of course, you may want to check also, for example, it is also important to look at the data types. That is actually very key. It is very key. Let's say data type checks. Now, what I'm putting here as a hash, it is to allow me to write textual-based information. Okay, to allow me to write text-based information. This, of course, is not going to be computed by Python, of course, because These are just comments. So Python allows us to comment as we run some of these codes as well. So data type checks. You can also do data type checks. This is really important. Before anything else, this is really important. So you can also printing the data types. So you can open the parenthesis again, use the small n here, then put the data type, write the word data with space, data types, use the full columns again and put, I think, the quotation. I should have also put the quotation here. Now, if you don't put some of these, of course, you may get some errors. So you want as much as possible to avoid errors of the sort. Okay. Now that you have printed, now you go ahead and print the data frame. So go ahead and print the data frame. So we print, open, then put the df dot d types here. Okay, since you already defined it above, then you can simply put print df.d types. Now, of course, because the data set is already loaded, that's why we're able to do this. For some reason, if the data set is not loaded, again, of course, you can't do this. If you wanted to load another data set, again, you have to load it like you loaded, I guess, the other. Even somewhere on the same kind of window, you can actually do that. But it's also imperative or important that if you are using different data sets, you create different kind of windows or different kind of runs. Otherwise, mixing up content in most cases is not right. So if you look at this again, you find it's quite a huge kind of data set again. This I got it, of course, from kego.com. I want you to get used to getting data sets there. Go to kego.com and you're going to find these data sets there. So if you look at the data types, school, which is an object, then of course others are integers, of course object being thing that is a text-based kind of information, then of course integers and so forth. So you can study the data set and see which kind of information that your data set probably holds. This is really key in machine learning, or rather in Python. Python, definitely depending on the task, whether you're developing machine learning models or maybe and so forth. But particularly for us here in data sciences, I think we are more interested in machine learning or AI-based kind of analysis. So that is about the CSV file. I want to welcome some questions, then we can load. I'll show you how to load the CSV file, rather the XLS file, then also the JSON file, then of course the rest you can always do at your own convenience. Please, if there are any questions, can we raise them now? I want to hope that all of you have been able to reach this stage at where I am. Questions, please. Before we continue, please. Any questions? Yes. Hello.
No questions from me yet.
Okay. Now I think you guys are lying now. Can somebody share their screen? I want to see what you guys are doing. I think you guys are just joking around. You can't say that you have no questions. Can somebody project? Let's see who here. Samuel Jude. Were you following me, please? Samuel Jude. Sozi Paul. Jude and Sozi Paul. Jude and Sozi Paul. if you are not mentioning anything, I'm going to mark you as absent. And you know what the absence now means? If I mark you absent 2-3 times, you are not going to get assessment. That's the new policy now, because we have noted that online students don't always want to participate in some of these sessions. Paul, Samuel Jude is not there, so this one is marked as absent.
So Sozi probably is caught up somewhere, but he's always an active member of this class.
No, he's not here. Don't tell me that. Then Samuel Jude is not here also.
Yeah, but some have.
We went ahead, of course, to print the shape of this file. Once you have read the file, then you can go ahead and use these other different functions. So I've been able to print the shape. The shape should be able to show us, let's say, the columns and the rows, or sometimes what you call the records and the columns. We know that the columns, of course, are variables. As we go deeper into this course, probably when we go into data cleaning, we are going to be referring them to as variables. So we got 33 variables that make up those 33 columns. Then, of course, the records were about 395 here. I think that's what we have. That's what we have seen here as well. So we went ahead and say that we can also print the first, let's say, whichever number that you want. But normally, if you want to see, of course, the data set is so big. You have seen that the data set goes up to 390 something records. So if you wanted to check that it is the right data set that you have loaded, we say that we can use the head, where we print the df dot head. Again, of course, if you don't specify the number here, it is able to give you let's say the first 5 by default. Of course, the 0 here is also counted as a number. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 here. And we also say that for some reason, variables, you know very well that machines always interpret numerical kind of characters. So you are going to find that at some point, you are not going to need information like this, like school MS. No, these ones are going to be converted into numerical values. Sex, for example, decoded, let's say as male. I see the addresses as this. So you are going to use a technique. I think some of you could have had some of these techniques, like hot encoding, to be able to correspond textual data with those numerical values. So at some point, of course, as we go into what we call the modeling, some of these, of course, should be changed into numerical kind of characters there. So, but this is, of course, important to show you the nature of the variables that you have. So I want us now to assume that now the data set this time around is not a CSV, but rather as an XLS. For an XLS, again, we wrote it as Excel file, not a CSV file. Again, of course, since we have Panda has already installed, I want to call this from here. And I think I have a file also that I've loaded, downloaded, I guess, for as an Excel file, not a CSV. So I want to go into that now. Let me go into that one now. Just like we have done in the previous example, again here we define the file path. Okay, we define the file path, right here. Okay, which is equal to, again, you can look for that file. Now under downloads, I think I have a file which is in Excel format. I think should be this one here. Is it the student here? So copy this as a path, then move it here. Okay. So this is the file that I have as an Excel file. It's also called, I know this is this is not the one, I guess. I think it should be employees. Should be employee. Should be this one here. Employee. Copy this as a path. So should be this one, not the other one. So let me replace this with that. So it is an Excel file, as you can see. Okay. So this is an Excel file. So you also define the file path like we have done in the previous. But you can also decide to write this here instead of having a different row for this. So df, let's say dot, df equals again pd dot read now this time instead of putting a CSV, you now read this as an Excel file because indeed it is an Excel file. Then you can open the brackets and of course define this file path as well. So copy this. Of course, the file path is this. You can copy this and put this. You can in Python you can also copy. You can copy and paste. Then of course you can go ahead and print the head if you wanted. So df. So you're going to say df dot head. Then of course you can now open again here. Is it open? Okay. Open then close like that. Okay, because here the head will require you to have those two parentheses. Okay, or the two brackets. Then the last one, of course, is to close the other entire one. So I could decide to write the code, of course, in one cell like that. And you see now the problem. The problem is because we didn't specify this. So again, I want you to use the R there. If you don't want to use the R, again, you can use the forward slashes. So if you look at that again, you'd see that. Now this is a small CSV file. Again, the CSV file can also give you that information, just like we have seen in the other file. Now, this one here is this employees data set. It is this one here, members. You can see it is a very small data set compared to what we had with the other student file, which we loaded as a CSV. This one is quite big compared to this. This one was just creating it for the demonstration which we are having currently here. So that is how we create, or rather how we read an Excel file. So I want to think that for you as a programmer, you are going to decide whether you use the CSV file or you go ahead and use the XLS file there. Of course, I want us to also to look at the JSON one. JSON is also another file format. So for JSON here, we can also I think it has a file path for this. So I think this is now a JSON one. I also try to download this, copy as a path again there. Then of course here we could also define a different file path for this. Equals to go ahead again and paste this. Remember I said you can copy and paste. So this is a JSON file. And again, don't forget the R at the beginning or use the forward slashes. Again, I could go ahead and for JSON, again, df, we now use this. Let me copy this just because I don't want to overtype some of these. So df.read, so instead of having an Excel file, here we are going to have a JSON file. This JSON is Java object notation. Then of course the file path I guess is right there. Then we can also print its head. So I copy this and I put it right here. Okay. So we can also read this one as well, and you'll see that now look at the difference between Excel file, how it is arranged, and again look at how the JSON files are arranged. Normally JSON files are arranged as pairs, just like you can see name David doing data science, artificial intelligence. Okay, so you can see that you can have a course arranged in this way. Somebody is doing statistics, but specialization is machine learning. Again, you can see ages. So they are always stored in pairs, just like you see here. Okay, so that's the difference that we note between JSON as well as the Excel and the CSV. Please again, you can ask any question if available before we move on. Please go ahead.
Yes, Professor. I don't know whether the challenge is on my PC,
Professor
but
Yet.
hello.
Hello.
Yes, Mr.
I'm not a professor yet.
Oh, you're not yet a professor. Sorry.
I'm Dr. Gawera, and a professor. A professor is another title.
Yes, doctor. Sorry for that.
Please go ahead.
Yes, I was saying I don't know whether the issue is on just specifically my PC. So you see how you're pasting your address and the slashes are backs. Yeah, but mine every time I have to paste an address, I have to manually change my slashes into forward slashes. I don't know, is that a problem on my PC? I don't know whether
You
it
want
is
to
on.
know that it doesn't show the forward slashes or back slashes? Oh, okay, the back slashes are not showed there.
They are there, but I have to manually go in and change them into forwards. Is it back or forward?
Okay. Forward slashes, I think you didn't get the point rightly. The forward slashes are used when you don't want actually to define the R at the beginning. Okay. For example, if I remove the R here, look at this, then I can define the forward slashes manually. I think this is what we're doing.
Okay. Yeah,
You see this? Okay. But if I don't want to do that, I'll just leave it that way. Okay. I was just trying to tell those people that you can decide to use any of those choices. Okay, thank you. Another person?
Sir, this is Tumusiime Andrew.
Yes, Andrew.
My question is, what does error mean? Like, what does it mean? And then also, have you shared that Excel file so that we can also practice? And
I'd
Excel
actually
and
not.
JSON.
Hello?
Excel and
not.
JSON.
I not shared the Excel file, but I can share it to you guys. Now, R that you are talking about is just a character that you define that Python recognizes when you are using the backslashes. It's more like a recursive kind of character. You can read about R and why R is always defined when you are using the backslashes. Python, in most cases, recognizes that fact that I think at some point when we didn't put the R, it was showing us that it was giving us a Unicode kind of an error. So sometimes the backslashes are recognized as characters in the Python, let's say, module setup. So how these guys have defined a way that can be handled is to always define the R at the beginning such that you don't interfere with the other predefined modules in Python. So it is just a character that Python uses. So it is by default is actually defined as such. Then for these ones, if you wanted to practice, I think you wanted JSON and this, JSON and this. I can simply copy this and put them for you here. I think this is what you want for practice also. Okay, so I'll put that is JSON. Then let me also put the other employee. This just I download them for this purpose. Okay, but you can actually decide to use the other ones, which are the other file which I gave you, which is actually much bigger. The student file there, I think it was much bigger there. Okay, so the files I've sent them to you. But there are people that have not spoken here today. Yes, please. Uh, very good, very good, Sozi. Sozi had, by the way, talked about you earlier, and somebody say that you regularly attend. So what had happened? You are running late? Yeah. Okay. But I couldn't have said it much better like you have said it, okay? The relative pass that you have mentioned. You have actually made life a bit okay for me. So I hope the other students have been able to hear what you have mentioned.
So now you
Okay.
can put him on present.
Yes?
Now you can put him as present.
I had actually not marked him as absent. I had not marked him as absent, but it is always important that when we are here, we all of us participate. Okay?
I asked that question intentionally for him to answer.
Okay, thank you. Thank you. Okay, thank you for that.
Good
There are other
afternoon,
guys
doctor.
here. There are other guys here.
Excuse me, sir.
I don't know. Yes, please.
Hello, sir.
Yes, yes.
Yeah, it's my first class today because I've not been attending this first
That
class.
is who?
Kaiser Henry.
Yes, Henry.
Yeah, so sir, I'm asking,
Mm.
Jupiter, is it online or we download it and we be using it?
Yes, it is online. It's
It's
open
online.
source. It is open source. Just go in Google and punch in Anaconda there. Jupyter
Oh,
Anaconda, you're going to find it.
okay.
You can, but again, look at the requirements. Look at your system requirements. Okay,
Like,
if you are downloading either for Windows, look at the specifications on how, if that can actually sit on your current specifications.
okay.
You can use this command. There's this one, MAC-info32 here, for system specification and check that the Jupyter that you are going to download fits in the profile of your machine. Okay, I guess that's okay. Any other question?
Good
Why
afternoon,
Cliff?
doctor.
Yes. Go ahead.
This is Tracy Ronald.
Mm.
When using the read from Excel, from Pandas,
Let's here. You're talking about here. Yes.
yes, I'm just wondering. You know that I've actually interacted with a different package for Python for
Yes.
reading Excel files,
Mm.
and XLSX is I think the new file extension for Microsoft Excel. But if you recall, in about 2003, it used to be XLS.
Yes.
So I'm wondering whether Pandas does
Can read that file. Yes.
yes, because some packages have trouble reading the XLS format.
Yeah. Just like you'd want to open XLS in if you have not actually saved it in the, you see Word 207 and maybe up to 2010. Let's say programs in the old versions. If you have not done that, maybe let's open Word and you see that for those that maybe could who may not get what the colleague here is saying, assume that this is the Office. Okay, let's open Excel anyway. Let's open Excel because we are using Excel files. So I want to go to Excel here. Okay, let me open Excel and you see what we are talking about. So imagine that this is the Excel file. So normally when you are saving, you always, when you go the save as, assume that you want to save it anywhere that you want. Somewhere under is this type here? You can actually look for those versions. Is this what you're saying?
Yes, yes. Excel 97,
Uh-huh. I think that's
something
what you're
like
saying.
that.
So this one here. So
Yes.
you can do that. Okay. Okay. I think that one is clear there. That one is clear to what the gentleman is saying there. Okay. As we come to let's try to finalize. Because today what we have been looking at was basically to look at the structure, how we load these files, and I guess so forth. That's what is important. Before we go deeper into the cleaning process. The cleaning is actually what makes Python much more distinguishable. We'll see this as we go forth. But I couldn't have taken you through that before we understand the concepts of data loading. And I want to believe members, those that are here, that when we meet the other week, we are going to go a little bit deeper in our understanding. Let's say, for example, how do we identify records, of course, that could have missing content? How do we handle, let's say, by identifying how much of the data records, of course, could be missing that may necessitate us to use what we call imputation techniques. Under imputation techniques, of course, we can decide to use, let's say, the mean for numeric values, or we can decide to use mode, or rather the median, or mode rather for categorical variables. So, of course, we should also be able to understand what percentage of missing may necessitate us to do the imputation. All those are skills that we learn as data wrangling experts, because with data wrangling, of course, the interest is to make sure that the data sets are identified, the data sets are put in an order, which of course would go to the next stage of the data science cycle, which is basically analysis and modeling. So that is what is key in what we are doing, I guess, this semester here. So we now know the different file structures. We have been able to look at quite a number of interesting areas, as well as like the colleague that has asked about the different formats. I guess we can now understand why it is also important that Python may fail to interpret, or rather read an XLS file because of its odd nature, and therefore may require you to save it in a style which Python, of course, will definitely read. This one, of course, I've given you a student records example. We have also seen the course information, particularly for the JSON file, where the information is arranged, I guess, in pairs, like we have seen. Excel advantages and limitations is that Excel, of course, could be user-friendly, visually interpretable, or for visual inspection. You can scroll through and actually see the content of the file. But in most cases, when the file is bigger, again, of course, that could be a limitation. So poor for large data sets, which may, of course, create some of those manual errors. But any record, of course, like we have seen, Excel, of course, there are avenues that one can also use to be able to summarize data, do all these, kind of computations. But we want to leave Excel for people that are doing business kind of analysis. For us in data sciences, we are going to focus mainly on Python. If time allowed, you could also have used RStudio. Those are the programs that you need. Then, of course, we leave people of statistics with Excel and Microsoft Word. I think that should also come out clearly. JSON format or Java object notation is same structured like we have seen in form of key value pairs, and we have seen that Python can also read this file. So if you are dealing with JSON files, again, of course, you have to follow Python rules to be able to read their content. An example here, we have seen this one here, ID, names of course, which are paired, rather the courses which are paired, for example, data science and artificial intelligence there, and the others that you have seen, of course, when we went to Python there. Just on advantages and challenges here is that makes use of nested data as nested. Normally nesting is where we use tags. I don't know that you guys have done dynamic HTML. I don't know at what stage you actually do this. Have you done that yet?
Pardon?
Have you done HTML?
Yes.
No,
No. Some other people have not done this.
because last semester there were electives, so some people chose internet web designing and others went for OOP.
Hey, okay. But nesting, normally you can create codes inside the others. Okay. Normally for people that use the hierarchical and other multidimensional kind of data structures, you could use nesting. But those that did that, I think that was an additional benefit for them. APIs are data sources that provide data via web services. Normally, you usually return JSON or maybe for you. Okay, maybe I want to show you an example of how to get weather API for weather examples, or rather for people that deal with weather data, particularly if you are subscribed to NASA. I think NASA is one of those. But sometimes if you develop codes and you want to use them on some of these platforms, they can flag you as a hacker. Okay, if you have tried to use some of these codes to probably call for data online, you can be flagged as a hacker. Okay, so that is why most companies like high level kind of companies like NASA, NASA is for meteorology. NASA, I think you know that. For America is national something of something there. But if you are going to use codes to get data, sometimes on some of these websites or web kind of channels, you could be flagged as a hacker. So what NASA has done, for example, I want to show you is that if you want, for example, to access meteorological weather data, you can simply use the LADS site. LADS, I guess, is so to find this, I think you can just I think there's this one here, NASA LADS or LADS C, CC here. Based on search queries, it appears okay. I think this is the one here. So instead of using the other queries that you are talking about, which could be flagged as you as a hacker, you may want to use some of these platforms. So you can go to LADS database here. Then of course go to the data. You can see even there's crowd data if you wanted, but you can go to find data, for example, and so you have this site here. Now instead of using the JSON where we use the that querying kind of a language, you could writing codes with the Java there, and you are flagged. You could actually make use of some of these web kind of interfaces. So you can search for a product, for example. Say you can click here on such a product. Then of course products would be available here. Now it depends on the product that you want. Assume that I want Modis Terra Aqua. These are satellite kind of data sets. Particularly Terra is for morning and Aqua is for afternoon. So if you are dealing, let's say, with the daily weather forecasting, you could use some of these platforms here. So assume that I click on maybe let's say mode 21 kilometer. So this is a data set here. So you can add this product. Then of course, the other thing you can do is that you can go to the time interval, then specify the date. So now this solves the issue of being flagged on some of these high level websites. So you can here you can specify the date that you want. Maybe this is 14th February 2026, maybe up to let's say up to 20th, maybe 20th, instead of, because I don't want much data here, or maybe up to 18th of that. Maybe let me put 18th, and let me just define it here. 18th. Okay, so you can add the date, maybe as such. Now here there are other functions that you can use. Maybe you want day data only. So let's just leave day data. If you want night, again you can specify, but let's go for day here. So I guess we can add the date. Then we go to the location. You can see the map of the entire world for people that do remote kind of sensing or using remote sensing kind of data. You can enter coordinates if you wanted, but let me draw a custom kind of a box. Let's say that I want weather data for Uganda is right here. Uganda is around here, and I see the Lake Victoria is around here. Maybe let me select for that region. So you hold the cursor down like that. Then you select for that region. Okay, and you can see now that the coordinates are added for you, west, north, and so the data that you are going to download is going to be for this region. Now you can go to the files there. So now you can see that this allows us to or the if you're online, of course, this will take you to the files that you need. So you have to wait a moment. Let's just give it a minute. I specified, of course, a few records. You can see now that these are the data sets that you have selected. You can even select up to a year, but I've just selected a few data sets. Then of course you can now go to the review. Now review is more like you want to download or make an order. These are free kind of data sources. So you can go to the select. You select maybe all the records, and then go to the review. And now you can submit the order. Okay, so these are some of the web APIs that you can use to get files, I guess here. Submit the order, and this order, of course, thank you for submitting your order. You can click to continue if you wanted. Now, if you go to the orders, here there should be orders right here. If you go to past orders here, because for me I'm already logged in and I have an account with these guys. Now you can see that the 11 files that you had specified are right here. So you can go to this option and actually download. Now you see this is now the order that you have made. Now you can go ahead and download this order. So you can go to the archive here, then download the selected order. So I can just select all the files, of course, minus this, check some here. Then of course, the files are few, that's why I'm downloading them. Then of course, you can go ahead and download the selected files. You can see now the order is here. Now, for some reason, this is now this data here is a .hdf. You see, we have looked at the other sources of data formats. The ones that we are looking at were objects, were integers, and so forth. But now these are more like let's say image kind of data. So image data is always for NASA. It is as a high definition or HDF file. And you see they are big. All these image data, they are quite big. You can see now these few files are just about 1.8 GB. So you can also download, for some of you guys that are going to have interest in remote sensing, you can just go to some of these Google Earth engines and look for areas where you can download some of these data sets. So I thought I should actually show you how API of course, for some of these data sets can also be accessed. Advantages of APIs, real time, like you have seen. If you look at this guy here, indeed this is real time kind of data. You can even download data for today if you specify today's date. Okay, so that is what we are calling real time kind of automated data. The only challenge, of course, is on authentication and rating limits. Authentication, of course, is who is authorized and who is not authorized. But the site that we're using is basically open source, where you can get this information free of charge. Okay, that's what I think is also important for some of you that are going to decide to go that line as well. Comparison of data formats. CSV files are simple structured data, like we have seen, while Excel are business kind of reporting, let's say data. Like I mentioned, please don't focus more on the Excel formats, focus more, I guess, on the CSV files. Just on our web and API, like we have seen, I've been able to show you the web where we can access some of those web files, and of course the APIs where we use the other codes like you saw, which are paired. APIs, of course, are live and dynamic. So what we have done, of course, today is that we have practically loaded data, Excel data. I think we didn't. Okay, this one you can look at it, of course. Open CSV file, open Excel file. These ones you can do and read the formats. It's just the normal way of reading files. And this one is okay. But what we have done in Python is that we have been able to load data in Python. We have loaded a CSV file. We have loaded an Excel file. We have also been able to load a JSON file. So key takeaways is that different sources need different kind of handling. CSV and Excel are easiest, and of course, we are saying JSON and APIs need proposing. So the next lecture, when we meet, we are going to look at data quality enhancement, consistency, and completeness. Are there any questions again before we